Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Widespread condemnation after journalists attacked at PNP headquarters. JTA still concerned about compensation review exercise. And later in sports, Real Madrid and Manchester City meet in Champions League semi-final this afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Shamela Pullen. Here are the details. We begin with news of widespread condemnation of last night's attack on journalists at the People's National Party headquarters on Old Hope Road. The issue has been generating much public debate about the treatment of journalists by supporters of political parties. Jamila Maitland reports.
What was supposed to be a regular media coverage of a protest by People's National Party's Southeast St. Catherine supporters turned into a back and forth between PNP members and the media. The Southeast St. Catherine constituents descended on the party's headquarters to voice their objection to the candidate selection process. Not only did some of their own party members take issue with the protest, but they were also upset about the media's presence, which included journalists from Television Jamaica, Radio Jamaica and Nationwide News Network. They demanded that they leave the premises. One even threatened to rape the Radio Jamaica worker, while another threatened to stone the TVJ reporter. The party's Deputy General Secretary Dexroy Martin also took issue with the green color clothing being worn by the reporters. In a letter to the People's National Party President, Chief Executive Officer of Radio Jamaica Gary Allen said what transpired was disgraceful, adding that for a journalist to be repeatedly saying that she feels attacked and abused is as disappointing as it is embarrassing. He's also taken issue with the media workers being chastised about their color clothing, stating that this tribal vestige is to be abandoned by any serious person or organization as nonsensical. He's also calling for an apology by the party to all media workers who were attacked. Meanwhile, Minister with responsibility for information Robert Morgan said the action represents a serious attack on press freedom, requiring swift and decisive action against those responsible. Jamila Maitland, TVJ News.
In the meantime, Press Association President Milton Walker, in a statement condemning the act against journalists at the PNP headquarters, says it's a violation of the fundamental rights of journalists. He says the threat of rape is a new law which has sent chills among female journalists in Jamaica. The PAJ is calling for political parties and supporters to respect the role of journalists and refrain from any action that may threaten their safety or independence. Meanwhile, the People's National Party says the entire affair is regrettable and tenders its unreserved apology to the media workers and the public at large. The party says the incident involving its Deputy General Secretary Dexroy Martin is completely unacceptable and does not reflect the party's position with respect to guests and media on the party's property. The PNP says it will take the necessary steps to ensure its members understand the importance of upholding the high standards of professionalism and respect in all interactions with the media and the public. The Jamaica Teachers Association is still concerned about the recent compensation review exercise. JTA President Lasonia Harrison was speaking on TVJ Smile Jamaica today. The details in this report. May 10 is being celebrated as Teachers' Day in Jamaica. But President of the Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, Lasonia Harrison, says it won't be an encouraging day for some of her teachers. She says there are still lingering questions about the compensation review exercise. This especially for senior teachers who are still distraught.
When the teachers do basic mathematics, February month end, what you collected February month end, and what you collected March month end, which is the implementation of the new, when you minus what you got and what you receive.
The maths not mathsing.
The
maths is English in it, what I think the president
It's not adding up, and so the teacher is still questioning, what is this? And then you would have gotten another set of money April month end, so that further compounds.
One of the changes the JTA president said, which was disappointing, is the change in graduate allowances. She says this has been reduced significantly.
4 increments when you got a master's. Now it's down to 1. So again, that was encouragement for teachers to pursue additional studies.
Yes.
And in the area in which we serve, that has to be a feature of the system. Continuous improvement, because you always want your teachers to be on the cutting edge.
Which is why she thinks a technical committee should be established to resolve these issues.
And where the representatives from the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Finance, the union sit around a table and let us look back at what the Ministry of Education did vis-a-vis the instructions from the Ministry of Finance and see where along the line or the process was there any misunderstanding, miscommunication, so the teacher's matter can be sorted out, and it must be.
But despite the many challenges, teachers will continue to do their best.
It's Teachers' Day and we celebrate us. The Jamaica Teachers Association celebrates our members, our colleagues. We will be providing that token for each member, and we just encourage corporate Jamaica, our parents, to celebrate. And the teachers at this time really need some special encouraging. So we ask, even for past students, go visit.
With Jamaicans among thousands of migrants at the U.S.-Mexico border seeking asylum, one immigration attorney is warning that there is not much the Jamaican government can do for those caught illegally entering the United States. More in this report. The United States is bracing for a surge of migrants amid Thursday's end of a Trump administration policy that allowed the government to quickly turn away certain migrants at the Texas border. The restriction will end along the COVID-19 public health emergency status in the U.S. Jamaicans are among the numbers waiting to get this American dream.
We've been here 3 days already. It's difficult because we don't have anything to eat. We haven't taken any baths. And it's very hot and it's very cold in the night.
24-year-old Demario Jones from Jamaica says the journey to the border was tough and dangerous.
Very, very challenging.
Both physically and mentally?
Physically and mentally, a lot of stress, and it costs a lot of money to get here. And it's not nice because it's very risky in Mexico as well. With the cartels, we have to pay them a lot of money to get here.
He's here with his mother and a few others from Jamaica.
I just want to go to the U.S. to get a work, to change my life and live a good life.
But immigration attorney in the U.S., Wayne Golding, says it could take years for the migrants to prove their asylum case in a court system, which is already experiencing several backlog. Additionally, he says the Jamaican government cannot intervene in the immigration laws in the U.S.
They can advise you of your rights, and they can see what protections you'd need under the Geneva Convention and those arrangements and treaties that we have. However, you're going to be basically on your own, and you're going to have to be fending for your own. Everybody thinks of the United States as the land of golden streets and money's falling from the tree. You'll get a rude awakening, especially if you get caught up in the immigration system, because some things are actually criminal offenses. For example, people who are crossing over with children illegally, they can be charged for alien smuggling. The conditions are very harsh, but the main thing is to understand that if you go wrong at the very outset, you may never be able to correct it in the immigration system.
Mr. Golding says it's not advisable for Jamaicans to try to enter the United States illegally to seek asylum, especially if a case cannot be proven.
Honestly, very few people from Jamaica get asylum. In the earlier days, people who were claiming victimization because of their sexual preferences and stuff, yes, some of those people were getting asylum because of the position of the government in Jamaica and whatever was happening to them where the government could not control or protect them. Now we're seeing a different dynamic. It's people claiming violence or economic conditions. And we can only look to our Haitian brothers and sisters who went through this for years. and were not granted asylum under even more horrendous conditions.
And Mr. Golding believes the Jamaican government should collaborate with the U.S. Embassy in Kingston to embark on a public education campaign to raise awareness among Jamaicans about the negative effects of illegally crossing into the United States to seek asylum. A tit-for-tat between a councillor and a member of parliament in St. Catherine, the reason where a car park should be built. The details in this report.
There's a bit of battle in southeast St. Catherine over the establishment of a layover car park in the Waterford division. Councillor for the division, Finley Douglas, says after consultations with residents, the go-ahead was received for the car park to be built. He stressed the facility will be beneficial to the residents. However, Member of Parliament Robert Miller is not in favour of the development at the chosen location. This, even as ground is being prepared for the construction process to begin. He argues that the constituents are strongly against the project.
To really put a park right here is inconveniencing the citizens. As you can see, it's close to their properties and they're already facing difficulties in terms of the noise pollutions in the morning. And to really put a hub right here, a car park right here, is not thinking about the citizens.
I must state that two persons oppose to the project to state that they really don't want this project here because it would have been a noise nuisance to them. But upon having dialogue with them yesterday and the day before, the municipal engineer, myself and other technocrats, they were all in agreement as to some simple modification or adjustment that can be made to this area. And we have done so, and everybody now is on one accord.
Mr. Miller rejected claims that consultations were done, but Mr. Douglas insists they were started 3 years ago. He further contends the car park is needed to limit confrontation between drivers of a state-owned bus company, JUTC, and the taxi operators. Mr. Miller, however, contends that the area is not fit for a car park, pointing to a master plan for the community. He says the area was originally designated to be a green space. He's suggesting that an open lot a few meters from that location be used. But Councillor Douglas says the leadership of the Portmore Municipal Corporation has other plans for that area.
That land, one is for a commercial venture to which we are currently in dialogue with several stakeholders in government and private sector, trying to see how best we can create local economic development for our community. And when we did our studies from the parish council, that land would not be feasible for this project.
The MP, in the meantime, is criticizing the leadership of the municipal corporation, saying politics is at the root of the decisions.
So if the people of the area don't want a taxi stand here or a bus park here, who are we to impose or believe our projects on the people? Case in point, the councillor Finley Douglas, the mayor Leon Thomas and myself don't live in Waterford. The people, the residents live here, and the residents said that they don't want it. Who are we to impose that on the people?
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
It's been over a week since the state-owned Montego Bay Metro company are continuing their strike action. This comes as the union and workers await a letter from the management to resolve their ongoing wage dispute. Commuters say this is causing a major challenge for them and the situation needs to be addressed.
They pay $100 on these buses. They call it subsidize. They subsidize the fares and they depend on these buses. When these buses now run, they have to take the dearer vehicle, we pay $300. When somebody look at you and say, John, I have to pay $300 go and $300 come. When we have to pay $100 on that bus go and $100 come. How you look into that? I have to take out money out of my pocket, give passengers.
And if we come up with a strategic way to deal with the issue that people can facilitate the people that rely on the bus for transportation when really, some people have different financial needs, so it would help out people when that stable as other people.
Pay them money and let them go back on the road.
Meanwhile, our news team tried to get a response from the Ministry of Transport and Works, but we were unsuccessful. It's time for the Business Minute.
The Tourism Ministry is working to improve collaboration with the United Arab Emirates in trade and tourism. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett recently met with the UAE minister responsible for tourism. He says a number of areas for possible partnership were identified.
Dubai will support us in terms of the MICE market development, in terms of logistics, in terms of technology. And we would reciprocate in terms of resilience and sustainability discussions, the building out of human capital programs, particularly for training and also for product development and marketing. We're excited that cruise tourism is a big area that the Caribbean and Jamaica can collaborate better with the Middle East in particular, but certainly Dubai. Dubai ports, which is one of the largest in the world, with enormous capacity. They are looking for partnerships now.
Further afield, a new poll finds Americans aren't confident its leaders can lead the economy in the right direction. According to a new Gallup survey, nearly half of Americans have almost no confidence in President Joe Biden's ability to do or recommend the right thing for the economy. Just 35% of people have a great deal or fair amount of confidence in him. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell doesn't fare any better. Only 36% of Americans have confidence in him on the economy, with 28% saying they have almost no confidence. And when it comes to Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, just 37% have a great deal or fair amount of confidence in her. This comes as the U.S. heads toward a looming debt ceiling crisis, in addition to 2 years of high inflation. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Shane Masters.
And now for the top regional and international stories.
In regional news, the United Nations says more than 600 people were killed last month in violence in the capital of Haiti, which is in the grip of a political economic crisis. At least 846 people were killed in the first 3 months of 2023, in addition to 393 injured and 395 kidnapped during that period. This is a 28% increase in violence on the previous quarter. Haiti has been gripped by a political and economic crisis since the July 2021 assassination of President Jovenel Moïse, with gangs now controlling most of the capital, Port-au-Prince. On the international scene, officials in Canada are calling for help in fighting massive wildfires in Alberta. Close to 100 wildfires raging across the region have forced more than 29,000 people to flee in what officials have called an unprecedented situation for the province. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith asked residents with firefighting experience who can lend a helping hand to contact emergency services. News further afield. Former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan was arrested on Tuesday by paramilitary troops who smashed their way into a courthouse in Islamabad to detain him on multiple corruption charges. The dramatic and sudden arrest of the former cricket star turned leader is the latest chapter in months of ongoing political turmoil in the nuclear-armed nation after Khan was ousted last year. According to court documents, Khan was arrested in Islamabad on charges brought by the National Accountability Bureau, the country's anti-corruption agency. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Hal Shaneberg.
We head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports report with Jermaine Brown.